The waitress was slapped by her manager, then a customer did the unexpected. The sharp crack of a slap echoed through the crowded restaurant, silencing every fork, every whispered conversation, and every ringing phone. A young waitress froze in place, her tray crashing onto the floor as shattered plates scattered across the polished tiles. Her cheek burned bright red, but the pain in her heart hurt far more than the sting on her face. Dozens of customers watched without moving. Some looked away in discomfort. Others pretended nothing had happened. But one customer slowly stood from his table, and what he did next would change not only her life, but the lives of everyone inside that restaurant forever. Before we continue this emotional story, if you believe kindness is stronger than cruelty and everyone deserves a second chance, please like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to Kindness Echoes for more heart-touching stories that remind us humanity is still alive. Emma was only 24 years old, but life had already forced her to grow up faster than most people ever imagined. After losing her mother to cancer and watching her father disappear beneath debts and depression, she became the only provider for her younger brother. Every morning before sunrise she prepared breakfast, packed his school lunch, and hurried across town to the small family restaurant where she worked double shifts 6 days a week. The pay was barely enough for rent, medicine, and groceries, yet she never complained because every dollar meant another week of survival. Her dream of finishing college had quietly faded into the background, replaced by overdue bills and endless responsibilities. The restaurant manager, Richard, believed fear created hardworking employees. He insulted the staff over tiny mistakes, cut their breaks short, and reminded everyone that dozens of people would gladly replace them. Most employees stayed silent because they couldn't afford unemployment. Emma was his favorite target, not because she worked poorly, but because she refused to argue back. She believed keeping her job was more important than defending her pride. Day after day she endured harsh words, impossible expectations, and constant humiliation while forcing herself to smile at customers. That afternoon the restaurant was packed. Families filled every booth while office workers crowded the tables during lunch hour. Emma rushed from one order to another, trying desperately to keep everyone happy. Then a frightened little boy accidentally bumped into her while running toward his parents. A tray slipped from her hands, sending glasses and meals crashing onto the floor. Before she could even apologize, Richard stormed across the dining room with anger burning across his face. Without caring who was watching, he struck Emma across the face so hard that she staggered backward. The room fell into complete silence. Emma lowered her eyes, fighting tears that threatened to escape. Years of hardship had taught her to hide pain, but humiliation in front of strangers felt unbearable. She bent down to collect the broken glass, believing that if she cleaned everything quickly, perhaps the nightmare would end. Instead, something extraordinary happened. A man sitting alone near the window quietly placed his napkin on the table and stood. He wasn't loud or dramatic. He simply walked toward Emma, knelt beside her, and helped gather the shattered pieces while making sure she didn't cut her hands. His calm actions drew everyone's attention. Then he removed his jacket and gently placed it over her shoulders as she trembled from embarrassment. The customer turned toward Richard with steady confidence. Rather than shouting, he asked every customer in the restaurant a simple question with his eyes. One by one, people began standing from their seats. Someone offered Emma tissues. Another customer picked up broken dishes. A mother hugged her frightened daughter while explaining that no one deserves to be treated that way. Within minutes the entire dining room had united around the young waitress who moments earlier had stood completely alone. Several customers quietly recorded what had happened, while others insisted that the police and labor authorities be notified. Richard's confidence disappeared as quickly as his temper had arrived. The power he believed he possessed suddenly meant nothing when ordinary people chose courage over silence. The customer who had first stood beside Emma introduced himself only after everything settled down. His name was Daniel, and years earlier he had watched his own mother endure abuse while working 2 jobs to raise him. He admitted that as a frightened child he had been too young to protect her, but he had promised himself he would never again stay silent when someone was publicly humiliated. Helping Emma wasn't about being a hero. It was about finally keeping a promise he had carried for decades. News of the incident spread throughout the city within days. Witnesses shared what they had seen, and former employees stepped forward with stories of similar mistreatment. Investigations followed. Richard lost his position, and the restaurant's owners were forced to confront years of ignored complaints. They introduced workplace training, anonymous reporting systems, and stricter policies protecting employees from abuse. Emma expected nothing more than an apology and the chance to continue earning a living. Instead, something even greater arrived. Daniel connected her with a community scholarship program that supported hardworking adults returning to education. Volunteers helped care for her younger brother while she attended evening classes. Local customers who remembered her kindness organized a fundraiser that erased several months of unpaid rent. For the first time in years, Emma felt something stronger than exhaustion. She felt hope. Months later she walked into the same restaurant, not as a frightened waitress, but as the assistant manager under completely new leadership. She greeted every employee with respect because she understood how deeply a few gentle words could heal invisible wounds. Whenever a new worker looked nervous, Emma reminded them that dignity should never be part of the price of earning a paycheck. The restaurant slowly became known not only for good food, but for treating both customers and employees like family. Daniel continued visiting every Friday, always ordering the same simple meal. They rarely spoke about the terrible afternoon that had brought them together. They didn't need to. Every smile shared across the dining room was proof that one brave decision had transformed countless lives. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, share it with someone who believes kindness can change the world, leave your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to Kindness Echoes so more people can discover stories that inspire compassion and hope. Special request, before this story ends, please comment with the words, "Kindness always wins," if you believe standing up for someone in need can change a life. Sometimes the greatest miracle isn't performed by the richest person or the most powerful voice. Sometimes it begins with one ordinary individual who simply refuses to stay silent when someone else is hurting. And in that single moment of courage, a broken heart can find hope, a stranger can become family, and kindness can echo through countless lives forever.